Hello, I'm Nadine Nicholson, co-founder of Ascend Leadership Co., and I welcome you to this talk on time leadership. I'll share with you the overview of what this is about and what you're here to learn, what's available for you here. And then I'm going to introduce myself and share a bit more about me and dive in and get started with the training. So I've got some notes here to refer to. There's some really key points I want to be sharing with you today. And, I am human. I don't have all of this memorized. I certainly know this work very intimately. And there's some key things I do want to share with you, including the learning objectives of this session. So this talk is called The 3 Hidden Time Leaks That Nobody's Talking About and How to Fix Them Now. And I like to add the little side comment around why traditional time management techniques are going to fail you. And this talk is for high earning, high performing entrepreneurs who want to learn how to free up your calendar, how to do more of what matters, how to become truly present in your life and in your business without sacrificing any of the hard earned success that you've worked so hard to build. So I love this little summary here, and I'm going to read it to you. So drained and exhausted business leaders are desperate for the path to more energy, less resentment, and more freedom to refill their tanks and resurface from the constant pressure they're buried under. In this talk, we'll shift you away from the time management techniques that have failed you and share how to effectively seal up the time leaks that are draining you, that are draining your time, your energy, your joy, and your bank account. So what you're going to learn, number one, I'll cover the true source of time stress and time guilt. And this, the source of feeling behind, spread thin, because it's all about eliminating this root cause for good. At least it is for me. That's what I want to help you with, is eliminating and getting to the root cause and eliminating it. Number two, you will learn 3 of the biggest time leaks so that you can seal those up immediately and reclaim your time. And lastly, you'll learn the mindset shifts that you need to intentionally design your time in a way that keeps you lit up and prioritized. How does that sound? Okay, well, if you want any of those or all of those, you're in the right place. Okay, so I'm going to introduce myself now. I recently hired a copywriter to help me write a bio for myself and for my co-founder, business partner, and husband, Derek Nicholson. And I don't know about you, and I can write things. I actually even have a communications background corporate communications before starting this business in 2008. And I find it really hard to write for myself. So I got Jamie to write this, and I'm going to read it for you now. I'm really proud of it. All right, Nadine Nicholson, that's me. All right. Ascend Leadership Co. is a premier coaching company dedicated to helping powerhouse entrepreneurs, founders, and CEOs become more powerful, productive, and present leaders. Founders Nadine and Derek Nicholson help clients climb out of the middle zone of time stress and time guilt, redesign their calendar, and reorganize their operations so they can take their life and time back and health back, enjoy work again, and feel wildly accomplished, get this, both inside and outside their business. The world's leading expert in time leadership and the powerful visionary behind the time leadership method, Nadine Nicholson, that's me, yours truly, I'm right here with you, brings nearly 30 years of experience as an executive in corporate communications, where I ran teams of 100 plus, and as an entrepreneur building her own 7-figure coaching business. As a master certified coach with double degrees in PR and psychology and an accredited business communicator, Nadine is a force of nature who calls clients up to their highest potential and helps them make clear, confident decisions at the speed of light. She's a straight shooting truth teller. That's me, with a deep connection to nature, particularly the Bow River, which she visits regularly Nadine is a member of the Women's Presidents Organization, a global collective for women presidents of privately held multi-million-dollar companies. She speaks on time leadership, breaking through the middle zone of success, and overcoming the trap of the say-do gap, inspiring entrepreneurs all over the world to lead their time and their business to make space for what matters most. All right, it was a little weird for me, kind of reading that bio in the third person about myself, and I hope you bared with me and maybe got a little humor and entertainment out of that. All right, I want to dive right into the training and the teaching here and have a really fast start. So I'm going to give you some tips right off the bat to get the most out of this training. First, number one, don't steal from yourself. Don't steal from yourself. You know, I like to say you're here, so you might as well really be here, right? You're here. You chose to be here. You chose to listen to this. So you might as well really be here. What happened before this, you know, listening to this replay happened. What will happen after this replay will happen. You get to choose to be here now. And now, and now, and now, right? Like, trying to multitask just steals from the experience, right? It steals from whatever you're trying to do. And this teaching is for this and for everywhere in your life and your business. It's all about choosing where you are. Be where you are. Be fully present where you are, so that you're not stealing from yourself and so that you get the full experience from whatever it is you're doing. All right, so that's my first tip. Great question to ask to help yourself in this right now, or in any time that you are in, you know, feeling distracted or pulled away, is to simply ask yourself, what will distract me from getting the full experience? What will distract me from getting the full experience? So it could be maybe your phone is right there and you're getting distracted by it, or you have extra screens on your computer or your phone. It could be, you know, you get a bunch of ideas or creative ideas that are coming to you that you feel like you need to follow up and execute. Maybe you're just listening to this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, there's so many more other things I need to be doing. We're talking about time here, and I feel so strapped for time. I need to deal with those things so that I can make more time. And yet I'm here to teach you how to get time freedom, right? So use that question wherever you are. And, you know, what will distract me from getting the full experience? And take action to choose, to help you choose to be where you are. All right, one more tip. There are 4 words that will steal any possibility of growth and possibility, really. And those 4 words are, can you guess? I know that already. I know that already. Versions of those words are, I've done that already. I've tried that already. That didn't work for me. That won't work for me. The whole point is to have a beginner's mind. It's all about simply noticing when you start to check out, or when you start to think something's not going to work for you, or you got a can't that comes up in your mind. Just simply say, ask yourself a question. How can I relate? How can I relate? What is there here for me to learn? So that's my, you know, invitation or suggestion for you. All right, now I'm going to get into some key definitions, because these are key to really getting the most out of this training. So think of these definitions as really the second part of the training, okay? The first part was to give you some tips, time leadership tips to make most out of this experience. We just did that. The second part of the teaching and training is to give you some definitions so that you've got some context and have some base understanding for some of these key ideas that I'll be talking about throughout the training. All right, number 1, the middle zone of success. The middle zone of success. Oops, I just lost my earbud. Let's put it back in. All right, middle zone of success. It's when an entrepreneur knows how to make money in their business, but it feels like they're failing at life, okay? So check in and see if you can relate to any of these concepts I'm about to share with you. So you may feel like you can make money in business. You know how to grow a business. but perhaps you feel like you're failing at life. So life could include your relationships, your health, your well-being, adventure, travel, having dreams, those kinds of things. So what happens in the middle zone of success is when entrepreneurs are feeling this way, they hide out in their business. They actually hide out in their business. And they find it hard to step away from work and are haunted by time stress, time guilt, feeling behind, spread thin, all at once. All at once. Now let's go to the second. The second definition is time guilt. I mentioned time guilt when I defined middle zone of success. Time guilt is when you find yourself feeling guilty. Guilty is also known as thinking you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. You find yourself guilty about how you spend your time, no matter what you're doing. So you could be working in your business and feeling guilty that you should be with your kids. You could be with your kids and feeling guilty that you should be in your business. You could be listening to this session, this talk, and feeling guilt that you should be doing something else. It's when you find yourself saying shoulds, that you should be doing something else, that's a sign of time guilt. All right, next definition, the say-do gap. The say, S-A-Y /do, D-O, gap. This is actually the true source of time stress. Now, I promised you'd be getting this today. Where is the source of your time stress coming from? The say-do gap is the actual source of time stress, time guilt, and feeling behind and spread thin all at once. The say-do gap is the source of the middle zone. It's actually it's the cause of being in the middle zone. This is the space, like the definition of the say-do gap is the space between what you say you value and what you actually do with your time. What you say you value and what you actually do with your time. So for example, if you say your health and well-being are important, but they are last on your priority list and you're sacrificing and compromising yourself and your own well-being, and you are on the back burner, then you're in a say-do gap. And what will happen is anytime you're in a say-do gap, when you say something matters, maybe there's a dream that you have and you say it matters to you. However, you put it on the back burner and don't believe that you can have it now, that you can do it now. Anything you say that matters to you and it's being put on the back burner or being sacrificed, what happens is, as an entrepreneur, is you will overcompensate for that gap. You will overcompensate for that misalignment in your values by overworking. You will actually work harder and longer to overcompensate for the gap in your values. And instead of getting the support or having the courage to get the support to face that situation and take off the back burner what matters so deeply to you and learn how to have what you desire, what you want at the center of your life and at the center of your business model, rather than compromising and sacrificing and saying you can't do it. That's the say-do gap. All right. There's two more definitions I'd love to share with you as part of this training. And the next one is impossible time freedom. Impossible time freedom. Ultimately, this is the outcome of the work that Derek and I do with our clients, with our entrepreneurial clients. When we coach them, we train them, we help them. This is what we're creating. So this is where you are able to be fully available for what lights you up, what matters the most to you, both inside and outside of your business. It's about experiencing spaciousness and flexibility in your calendar while being fully available and present for the relationships that matter most to you without losing any of the success that you've worked so hard to build. Also known as being able to have success with your personal life while growing the success of your business. Because most entrepreneurs don't believe that's possible. That's why Derek and I call it impossible time freedom. Most entrepreneurs believe and feel that if they are to grow their business, then their personal life has to suffer. And if they grow their personal life, then their business has to suffer. We don't buy into that. That's a myth. This is all about getting alignment with what deeply matters to you in your life: health, well-being, relationships, being very clear about the truth of what matters most to you, and making sure that you are dedicating and devoting your precious time to those areas of your life so that you have alignment with what matters to you, so that your actions match what you say that you value. And what happens is you have exponential success in your personal life, in your business. Your revenue goes up, your happiness goes up, your client success goes up. Everything grows exponentially because of the alignment with what you value the most, when your actions match your values. So this is all about the practice of time leadership, and time leadership is our wheelhouse. It's our area of focus. It's what we're best at. It's what we do for a living. It's our skill set. We are the global leaders in time leadership. And time leadership is exactly what I just spoke about. It's being able to have fierce integrity between what you value and your actions, your choices about your time, the actions and the decisions that you make, i.e., how you spend your time. It's all about putting what lights you up at the center of your business, at the center of your life. And you experience more wealth, growth, and impact because of it. All right, so we covered some key areas: middle zone of success, time guilt, the say-do gap, and impossible time freedom, which is ultimately the outcome of this work, being able to have spaciousness and flexibility in your calendar, freedom with your time, while growing your business success. It's about having success in your business and your personal life simultaneously with harmony. And we also covered time leadership. Okay, so if you feel like you need to listen to those definitions again, feel free to rewind these replay. And now I'm going to go into the next part of the training, which is to share 3 time leaks that that show up for a lot of entrepreneurs. All right, so this is where entrepreneurs tend to leak their time. They lose time. And our whole focus, Derek and I, is to help entrepreneurs seal up their time leaks, because that is a big, big part of creating more time freedom while growing the success of their business and their life at the same time. All right. So time leak number 1 is having too much time outside of your genius. Too much time outside of your genius. Okay, what is this problem that we're addressing? So your genius is what you're best at. It's what lights you up. And it's where you can make the most revenue. It's what you can value your time the most for. And most entrepreneurs are getting stuck, or are truly stuck in energy draining activities, thinking they have to do them, thinking they're stuck with them, thinking no one else can do them. And this is both on a business level and on a personal level. Energy draining activities entrepreneurs get stuck in them. Most entrepreneurs have about 80% of their time in what is draining, and only 20% of their time in what lights them up and what feeds them and where they can value their time the most. Now, there are 4 areas of activities, 4 themes that I'm talking about here. Number 1 is your genius. Again, this is where you gain the most energy. This is what lights you up. This is what you're best at. It's what you are uniquely skilled at. It's what you can value your time the most for. It's the easiest for you, in a sense. That's number one. The second area is what you're excellent at. Excellent is, from an energy basis, neutral. You're not getting a lot of big gains or drains from excellent activities. You are really good at them. You're excellent at them, but you don't have any passion about them. They're more neutral. In fact, these are really hard to get out of because you're so good at them. And this is a place that an entrepreneur can really get stuck. And because it's like meh, it's neutral, it's flat, it's like this is a big trap, getting stuck here. This is one of the biggest traps that entrepreneurs get into, is getting stuck doing excellent activities, and they're really hard to give away. The next area is called competent. This is what you are competent at, but they're draining to you. You can get by doing them. You can, you really could just get by, but they drain you. You're just competent at them. Incompetent is the last category, and incompetent is what you feel stress, failure, and a real sense of drain. You get really drained by these. You feel conflict. They're really hard. Now, it's really important to realize that there are people who can be on your team who have genius in the things that you are excellent, competent, and incompetent at. Now, why is this a problem? When you spend the majority of your time doing activities that are energetically draining to you, it creates energetic depletion, right? It drains you, it exhausts you, it burns you out. And what this is going to do, it's going to cause a drop in fulfillment. You're not going to feel joy. Your productivity will go down. Your bottom line is going to be impacted negatively. And like I said, the even sneakier habit is getting stuck in excellent. A lot of entrepreneurs get stuck in excellent, and often it's because they're playing small and staying in the comfort zone of what they're good at, just good at, rather than stepping into what they're uniquely genius at and what actually would light them up and fulfill them to a high level. All right. So the goal, like, how do we fix this? So when Derek and I work with our clients, our entrepreneur clients, our goal is to flip their percentages. It's almost always, I can't think of someone that we've worked with hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs. I can't think of someone who wasn't at the 80-20, maybe 20% of their time in their genius and 80% in the other categories. Our goal is to flip it. It's to help them get to a place of having 80% of their time and energy in their zone of genius, both personally and professionally, and 20% of their time in the other areas. Okay, so now I want you to do a little exercise. Think about your day yesterday. Okay, think about your day yesterday and write down a list of tasks and activities that you did. All right, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes. And what I'll do is just pause the recording for 2 minutes. Pause the recording for 2 minutes. Give yourself 2 minutes and write down all the tasks and activities that you did. All right, pause. Okay, now that you're back, write down beside each one whether something is a genius activity, an excellent activity, a competent activity, or an incompetent activity. All right, you might want to pause the video again and do that. Take 2 minutes to do that, maybe a minute. Now, come back. All right. Now, if you had to guess how many hours each week are you losing by doing activities out of your genius zone? How many hours a week are you losing by doing activities outside of your genius zone? So usually it's going to be often, and this is both personally and professionally. So I would venture to guess it's going to be at least 30 hours, likely 30 hours in your excellent, in your competent, in your incompetent. Like, think about all the things you do that are neutral in energy or they're draining. How much time of your week are you spending doing things that don't light you up, that are actually draining your energy? Is it 20? Is it 30? Is it 40? Is it more? Really think about that and put down a number. So when Derek and I work with clients privately in our private coaching, one of the very first things we do is we look at everything on their plate, both in their personal life and in their business. And then we determine the amount of time and energy they have in each of those quadrants. And we set a 90-day goal to move more of their time and energy into their zone of genius. Their zone of genius is what lights them up. It's what feeds them. It's what they're best at, what they're most uniquely skilled at. It's where they get to charge the most for their time, value their time the most, and make the most revenue. Now, we help them make key decisions about what to say yes to, what to say no to, what to let go, where to bring, get some more support from their team, what other team members they might need, if any. What are some things they don't need to be doing at all in the company anymore, right? So we help them make these clear decisions. Ultimately, the goal that was a 90-day goal to get more of their time into their genius. Ultimately, within 6 to 12 months, our intention is to help them get to 80-20, 80% genius, 20% everything else. All right. I'll share with you a little story, a real quick story of one of our clients named Julie. And I love her quote. She's actually a copywriter. Like, that's what she does for a living. So she wrote this quote. So I'll read this to you, and you can get a sense of what we did with her. Nadine and Derek took a love machete to my calendar, digging into the nitty-gritty details to help me cut out all the clutter, build efficiency into my schedule, and pare down my working hours from 60 plus to 32 hours a week. I've been working with Ascend for less than 30 days, and I have a clear plan to quadruple my revenue, hire up, and manage my time in a way that feels luxurious and spacious. It's like the weight of the world is lifted off my shoulders. I am now making 4 times the income in half the working hours with a spacious calendar. That's really inspiring. At least it is for me. How about you? All right, let's go into time leak number 2. Time leak number 2. Too much saying yes when you really mean no. It's where you are saying yes too much when you really mean no. All right, so what is the problem that we are addressing here? Why is this a problem? What is the problem and why is it a problem? So this is when you're saying yes to too many things. You're saying yes when you mean no. You're having a hard time saying no. Or you're saying yes too quickly and just simply too often. And it's really having an impact. Can you relate? Can you relate to saying yes when you mean no? So here are some reasons that we do that. It could be some reasons why you're doing that. If you relate to this, should you relate to this? You could have the fear of missing out. Maybe you won't get another chance. You could worry about being liked, being a people pleaser. You could worry about what people are thinking of you or could think of you. Maybe they'll think you're lazy if you say no. Maybe they'll think you're selfish, you're not a team player. You have an addiction to achievement. You're thinking that you doing more means being more accomplished, being more productive. You could have a belief that if you say no, that you need to over-explain your choice or justify your choice. You could have a belief that if you say no, or and don't say yes, that you're going to be bored or have too much time in your hands. You could simply just fill your time with what feels more comfortable, what feels more safe. So many entrepreneurs are so successful in business and know how to grow a business that they actually hide out in their business because it's easier, because they feel more confident, because they feel more competent, because they feel more self-assured, because they get validation there. So if you can relate to that hiding out in the business kind of concept, well, you're not alone, because so many entrepreneurs, when we first meet them and we start working with them, they're hiding out in their business because they're afraid to face their life. They're afraid to face their relationships, their health, their well-being. their, lack of travel, their lack of adventure, their lack of being able to live their dreams, feeling like they have to keep putting these things off. So they hide out in their business because that's all they know. And it's what they're best at is business, or what they believe they're best at. So why is it a problem to say yes when you mean no? Well, think of it like a kite. It's like you're like the kite flying in the wind rather than the one holding the kite, It's when you're reacting instead of responding. Okay, so how do you fix this? I'm here to teach you a tool you can use to get yourself into the driver's seat, to get yourself to be the one who's holding that kite and is holding that kite as it flies in the wind. You're in charge of your responses. You're in charge of your yeses. You're in charge of your time. So I call it the yes, no counter offer. So this is a third option, is the counter offer. So instead of having to say yes, or even having to say no, I'm here to teach you a third option, which I call the counter offer. The counter offer is all about learning to say yes on your terms to what you choose, to be putting you unapologetically first and not stepping over yourself to meet the needs of everyone else all the time. It's about valuing and protecting your time. Okay, I have some examples for you here. All right, so say an employee says they need something for you, and you're really strapped for time. You don't have the time to do it right now, right? So what you do is you say something like, you take a breath. I hear that's important to you, and I'm not available to do this right now. Here's what I can do. And then you offer them what you can do. Maybe a client wants to talk to you after hours. You're responding, but you worry that if you don't do it, that you're going to make the client mad, or negatively impact your relationship with this important client. So you take a breath. I'm with my family at that time, and I can talk to you tomorrow, anytime between 9 and 11 a.m. What works for you? All right, here's another one. A prospective client says they want to meet with you on a Friday, but you just decided to make Friday a day full of health appointments to take care of your health and to have some quality time with your partner. So you take a breath, and an option of responding is to say, I'm not available on Friday. I can meet with you on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Friday. I can meet with you on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Take a look at your calendar and let me know a couple of options that work really well for you, and we'll set up a time to connect. This might be stirring you up a little bit, right? Because we're taught to turn on a dime, right? We're taught to sacrifice ourselves and step over ourselves for everyone else. Now, you know, with clients, because sometimes they need your support, if you're providing services, etc., you may want to say to them, I have made some plans for Friday that are, maybe it's like, I've made some personal plans for Friday. Please tell me more about what it is you want to talk with me about, so that I can, figure out the best way to help you with that. So that's another way of responding, is to let them know your boundary, but also be available to share and ask them what is happening, so that you can better be in a position to respond, particularly to clients. All right. A contractor emailed you a proposal and wants to meet with you tomorrow morning to review it. You could say, thanks for sending the proposal. I appreciate you doing that. I'm available to discuss this potential work with you on Monday at 1 p.m. How does that sound? ? Lastly, your partner is telling you about their day, and you happen to be trying to send an important email. So your response could be, what you're saying really matters to me. You matter to me. It will take me 5 minutes to finish what I'm doing, and then I can be fully present with you. How does that sound? Or you could say, you matter to me. What you're saying matters to me. I'm going to put away this. I'm trying to finish this work thing. I'm going to pause it for now and put this aside so that I can be fully present to you, and then I'll go back to it. So do you see what I'm doing here? Do you see how you're acknowledging what the request is? And then you're giving them a counter offer of what you're available for and offering that to them as a solution. And you're doing that on your terms, on your timeline, and you're being unapologetic about valuing yourself and your timeline or your time, and not stepping over yourself or sacrificing yourself to meet the needs of everyone else. All right, so think of a time. Here's the exercise. Think of a time when you said yes, but you actually meant no. So write that down. Write that down. Okay. Now, what could be a response that you could do where you could actually have tried? This could be something you practice, where you can say, acknowledge them for that request, and then let them know what you are available for, right? So my invitation to you is to practice the counter offer and say yes on your terms. Now, if you had to guess, how many hours would you say every week that you've been losing or leaking saying yes to people, and when you actually mean no, or stepping over yourself and doing things that were not on your terms, right? Do you understand? This is around time where you commit to something when you don't actually want to, or time that you spent stewing over those situations and worrying about them. So usually this is going to be anywhere from 10 hours a week, anywhere up to 30 hours a week or more. A lot of entrepreneurs spend a lot of time. You know, there's a big time leak here in not being in the driver's seat of being intentional about and unapologetic about saying yes to what you choose to do on your terms. Now, it's key, you know, to kind of reinforce here that there's some overlap between the first time leak, right, that I shared at the beginning here around too much time outside of your genius, and overlap with the second time leak of saying yes when you mean no. It's, you know, sometimes it's the same minute, it's the same hour where you're doing both things at once. All right. So I'll share with you now another quick client story. And this is about Rochelle. Rochelle is a corporate consultant, a leadership consultant in the corporate world. She coaches primarily middle managers and leaders. And she actually came over in person one day to have a coaching session here. She actually lives in our same city in this case. Most of our clients we're in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Most of our clients are in the United States, and we work with them virtually and see them from time to time. But this particular client lives right in our same city. And she said yes to something. She said yes to the CEO of one of her client companies when she didn't mean yes. She said yes when she really meant no. And she was really uncomfortable when she first came in and she started talking about it. We could really see this values conflict. And we dug underneath it and really got to know and really got to understand, what was she available for? What could she say yes to unapologetically and be in integrity with herself and her values? Now, we worked with Rochelle for about a year, and this is what she said after working with us. I was overworked, worn out, and feeling I should just throw in the towel and retire. Nadine and Derek told me things could be different and saw a vision for me that I couldn't. With their help, I now focus on the right things and get the right payoffs. I show up unapologetically, with more power and in more control. I enjoy my business and team more. I'm not sure I'd even still be in business if I kept going the way I was. I probably would have thrown in the towel. Working with Nadine and Derek pays off more and more to me every day and every week as I go. In the last year, it's one of my favorite parts of this quote. In the last year, I took the most vacation time ever and had my highest revenue year in my business. My business is no longer running my life. Highest revenue year, most vacation time ever. Her business is no longer running her life. All right. Yeah, I'm kind of passionate about this, as you can tell. All right, I'm going to take a drink of my tea, my peppermint tea. All right, we're going to get into the last time leak that I'm sharing with you today, and where you lose time or leak time. And this one is all around too much context shifting. Too much context shifting. What is context shifting? It's where you are shifting your context. You're shifting from throughout the day between revenue generating work, admin work, social media use, personal activities. It's where you're losing focus and getting distracted from some kind of core focus for that day. You're getting pulled and spread thin and pulled in too many directions. And it's where you feel completely stressed and really at your wit's end, right? So why is it a problem? Well, context shifting, or getting distracted, getting pulled in a bunch of different directions, wastes time and it drains your energy. When trying to focus on client-facing, money-making work, admin or lower level work will cause you to lose focus and has an impact on your confidence. It takes a lot of time to get back to focus. And when you're trying to be completely present in your free time away from work, admin activities or errands or, even work can really get in the way and cause time guilt, where you feel you need to be pulled in different, where you feel you should be doing something else and you're not. I gave you the definition of time guilt earlier. So how can you fix this? How can you fix this issue? So this is where traditional time management really fails entrepreneurs, because time management techniques will teach you that there's work and there's personal, and you need to separate the two. You need to keep them separate. You need to put them in boxes, and you need to try to find some kind of balance. Well, the reason why it doesn't work, and the reason, or the issue that gets created, is what I call the zero-sum game. Zero-sum game is where essentially you think there's one area has to be sacrificed for the other. So if you focus on your business, you need to sacrifice your personal life. If you focus on your personal life, you need to sacrifice your business. So traditional time management actually doesn't help you manage your time, because it's causing a zero-sum game of sacrifice and conflict between those two areas. So what I teach and what my husband teaches and business partner Derek is, we teach that there's a third area of time. So we call business time, revenue generating time, client facing time, we call that focus time. We call that focus time. Free time, personal time, for travel, for family, for health, for well-being, for rejuvenating time outside of work, we call that free time. Free time. The third area we call buffer time. Buffer time is both personal activities and focused activity and business activities. The key is that buffer activities tend to be more admin related. They tend to be more, admin related is a good way to say it. Buffer activities, when done as a theme, like when you focus on buffer activities, they allow you to be fully present in your free time, and they allow you to be fully focused in your focus time. So what we do is we identify what are all the buffer activities in your life and in your business. These are things like planning your week, leading your team, like leading team meetings or client team update sessions, preparing for your client meetings, preparing for your sales conversations, doing admin, answering phone calls, answering emails, these kinds of things. We identify all your buffer activities, and then we identify what is the best day, sometimes 2 days, to be focusing exclusively on that work. So we pull them out of your focus time, and we pull them out of your free time, and we dedicate time in your week to focus on your buffer activities. Now, what that does, it's absolutely massive. It's absolutely magical. What that does is it gives you confidence because you're getting like things done. Often buffer activities get put last on the list, and they're really, really important because they allow you to be totally focused when you're in your sales time and your client facing time. And buffer activities also allow you to have very pure free time with your family and with your health, and on the weekends and evenings, trying to really rejuvenate and refresh yourself so that you can think clearly when you're back in your business. So what we do with our clients is we identify all of the buffer activities that have been pulling them in a million directions, and we dedicate time to them. Often it's also getting support on those things, because often the entrepreneur shouldn't be doing them at all. And what happens is their focus on their sales, their revenue generation, their client delivery becomes so much more focused and successful, and their free time becomes so much more pure. All right. So those are the three key time leaks. Now, I'd like to end by sharing my personal story and then an invitation to meet with me should you want to continue this conversation. So why do I do this? Why do I care so much about time? When you think about your someday dreams, not someday now, here's where it all started. And this is why this business exists. It's where it started. Back in 2008, I was working many hours, long hours, exhausted, burned out, overworked. I had a young son at the time. He's 15 now. He's going into his, mid-teenage years. He's taller than me now. At the time, he was just a little baby. And he was a miracle to me because I had a hard time getting pregnant. And I ended up going through fertility treatments to successfully get pregnant. And he is a joy and an angel in my life. I was leading a team of over 100 people. I was responsible for corporate communications for an organization of 20,000 employees, 1.3 million stakeholders, billions and billions and billions of dollars in infrastructure. And I was burned out. What happened next changed the course of my entire life and is the reason of why I'm so passionate about this subject of time leadership. My father, his name is Paul, my middle name is Paula, I'm named after him. He was a successful entrepreneur. When he was 71 years old, he was diagnosed with stage 4 stomach cancer. 3 weeks later, he passed away. I can tell you this story without getting so choked up. It still hurts. It's still very painful. And I can tell you this story in service of you. When he died, I had this feeling to go back over to him. And what happened next changed the course of my entire life. Everything changed. I felt this wind come up into me. And I heard a message from spirit, his spirit, my spirit, I don't know, from God, from the bigger energy around all of us. I heard this word, this message, and the message said, Nadine, you have new life. You have new life. And I took that to mean that my dad died and he didn't have a chance. I did. I had a chance. I had new life. He gave me his life so that I had a wake-up call to wake up and stop wasting my time on what doesn't matter. Sure, it mattered the work I was doing. I was doing good work, but it didn't matter that I was overworking. It didn't matter that I was exhausting myself. Like, I mean, it mattered to me, but what I mean by that is what really mattered to me was my family, my health, my well-being. My dad just died and I am overworking and suffering and hurting myself and putting my health, my well-being, my relationships, my family on the back burner and compromising everyone and everything that mattered the most to me. That's why this business started. That's why I care about what I do, is because I say borrow my wake-up call. Many of our clients who work with us have had wake-up calls. That's why they resonate with us. They've lost a daughter. They've lost a mother. They've had a health crisis. Whatever it is, it shook them up and woke them up to take hold of their precious life and live, not someday, live now. Now. Learn how to have their someday dreams now. Take what is on the back burner and bring it to the center, and have the courage to get the support from Derek and myself to have joy, to have fulfillment, to have peace, to have happiness, to have rest, rejuvenation, creativity in their personal life, while not losing an ounce of success. In fact, growing their business exponentially because they're rested, they're happy, they're joyful. They make a bigger impact. They have more joy, more peace, more happiness, and they happen to make more money because of it. Even that's not what drives them. The money doesn't drive them. It's like a bonus. So that's why I do what I do. That's why this business exists. That's why I care so much about business with breathing room. Because I truly believe with every ounce, with every part of my soul, that entrepreneurs get to have this. They get to have their precious life and they get to grow their business sustainably at the same time, simultaneously. So if this calls you, if I call you, if anything that I've said has resonated with you and you want to talk with me privately, I'm going to tell you right now how to do that and what we're going to do on that call. I am inviting you to a 45-minute call with me. I call it a clarity call, confident clarity call. This is totally focused. The intention is to help you get clarity. On the call, and I'm actually sharing these 3 points that I wrote for you to hear, so I could share this so you know exactly what we cover. You will rise above your day-to-day reality to identify your biggest opportunities, your biggest challenges, and what needs to change. Biggest opportunities, challenges, and what needs to change, especially in relation to your time, both in your life and your business. You will identify the highest priority change, the most important change, the one that, if addressed first, would make the biggest difference in your calendar, your business operations, your life. Lastly, you'll gain clarity on what's possible for you if you choose to solve this, and also the risks of staying where you are. Now, this call is designed to deliver value, to deliver clarity, to build our relationship. It's free of cost. It's something that I provide to people who've listened to this talk and resonate with me or with what I've shared. If the chemistry is there between us and you're curious of knowing what it could look like to have ascend, myself, my husband, our company, to help you deal with that challenge and solve that and achieve your goals, then we can explore the possibility of working together going forward. Sometimes we may do that on that first call, or sometimes we may say, you know what, we covered a lot of ground. Let's have a follow-up call. Let's set up a second call. Sometimes it makes sense to explore the possibility of working together, and sometimes it doesn't. We will know when we meet in that first 45-minute call. So the way to book this call is to go onto our website and book it. The website, or the link, is ascendleadership.com, ASCEND leadership.com/call. There's a calendar that you can select at the bottom of the page. Now, if by chance there are no options to book, don't let that stop you. Send me an email directly, and I'll be sure to add some more options in there for you. Okay. Just in case, I just want to make sure that you don't get defeated. If there happens to be nothing in there, please just reach out to me and I'll add something in. It's all good. It's easy to do. Hopefully when you go in, there'll be some there for you. And then that's even easier. My email address is Nadine, Nadine, at ascendleadership.com, ASCEND leadership.com. All right. So let's wrap this up. So, here's the thing. Most people won't change because they're not willing to invest their time and learn how to lead their time. Most people don't fight for change. They know that what they're doing isn't working, that they're in the middle zone. Often they'll know it's not working, not always, but they know that something needs to change. And not everyone fights for it. Not everyone books that call just to get the clarity about, and go deeper on their unique situation, to actually get clarity on what needs to change and then make a decision on whether or not they want to do it or not. They want to make that change. Feeling fully lit up and fully alive isn't the reward for business success. It's a critical part of achieving it. The cost of staying in the middle zone of stress, sacrifice, and business resentment, that's the cost. And it's not as simple as saying something different. It's about doing something different. And that's not someday, now. So if you feel called, if you've resonated with what I've shared, book that call with me. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to talk about your unique business, your unique life. When you do select the time, there's a few questions to fill in, a few thoughts on. The intention is to make the most of our time together. I want you to get clarity in that call. I want to get to know you. I want to know you. And if you want to explore working with us, we can either discuss it there or do it on another call. And sometimes it makes sense and sometimes it doesn't. And either way is okay. So we're complete for now. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. Have a fabulous week. And I look forward to hearing from you soon. All the best. Bye for now.